Oh my gosh, guys, I just dug up a video from a few years ago that I made that if you have big pimples or big cysts, you have to see it. It describes literally everything that you can do from experience to get rid of that pimple. So I'm gonna play that video. I think you guys are gonna really like it. By the way, if you are still breaking out with active acne, you should absolutely check out the Acne Method. It's a new program that I just made that describes and explains exactly how I eliminated my acne. I'll put a link in the description below, but without further ado, let's go into this video.
Hey, what is going on, everybody? Excuse any sound that you might hear in the background. There's some construction going on outside, but welcome to another acne video. We've been having some really good acne talks lately, and they're all sourced by you guys. So if you have any questions about anything acne related, leave it in the questions below this video. But today's video, we are gonna address what to do when you get a big zit or a big cyst. First off, before we get into anything else, do not touch your giant cyst or zit if possible, and by all means, and warning, there's gonna be some very graphic image on the screen right now. By all means, do not touch your face with your hands or allow anyone else to touch your face with your hands like this. This is not the way to pop a cyst. So what do we all do when we get a big old cyst, a big old pressurized zit, anything like that? We all look at it and we assess whether or not we can pop it yet. Is it time to pop it? Well, I'm gonna tell you right now something you might not wanna hear, but I've learned this from having many cysts, so many cysts over the course of my life with acne. Don't touch them. Ever. It almost never improves it, almost always makes it worse. Even if you just touch it, not even pop it and stuff, even if you just brush it or anything like that, you're going to inflame it just a little bit, you're going to irritate it just a little bit, it's going to add so much more fluid to that cyst and get so much more angry. So listen, this is what I found to be the best thing ever that you can do for any zit at all, but especially the big cysts and big zits, is don't touch it and just let it heal itself. And I know that sounds impossible. How are you supposed to go out in public with a big whitehead? And I know most people probably aren't gonna be able to do it, but if you can bring yourself to do it, do it. I got to a point where I literally would go out and I didn't care. I would have 4 whiteheads and a big cyst, and sometimes it'd even be like pussing out and leaking, but it doesn't matter. Just don't touch it, because the amount of time you're gonna have with that inflamed cyst is gonna be so much longer than the amount of time you'll deal with just that whitehead that you don't touch. Now, if you take my advice and you don't touch it, eventually either the cyst will drain itself internally or it will harden under the skin, and then you'll just have a chunk where that fluid would be, and the chunk will just naturally come out in the shower or anything like that, and then you will literally not have anything. You'll just have a small hole that will heal back to a normal size pore by the next day, and you won't have any redness. It is the best way to deal with it. So if you've been successful with not force popping your cyst and you've been waiting and it looks like it's very pressurized or it's super ready to come out, what you should do, instead of prodding it with your fingers just straight, you should either steam it with some hot steam, put yourself under a blanket and steam your face, or just do it in the shower, because one, your hands will be clean, so you'll have clean hands to touch your face with. Otherwise, you should never touch your face just purely with your skin. And also, pretty much what would happen to me every single time I'd have a big cyst is I would not touch it, let it get hardened, I'd go in the shower and I would just be washing myself. I'd come out and I'd either realize that the cyst had just fallen out, or while I was drying myself ever so slightly, just very lightly, I would be able to brush the cyst out of my face. And then that way I wasn't adding any pressure or anything like that. Okay, and now we are going to speak to the dark side, because I know a lot of you guys are looking at me and you're saying, I can't help it, I'm going to pop my cyst anyway. So what you should do if you absolutely have to pop your cyst is obviously don't pre-pop it. Wait until it gets nice and pressurized like we're talking about, and then you need to add heat to it. So you can either use a hot warm towel, steam yourself, or go in the shower again, and then you're gonna use a lance instead of a sewing needle, because I used to do this all the time. I know a lot of you guys have done this too. You take a sewing needle and you try to pop a little hole into it, and then you try to apply pressure to it. Problem is, the hole is so tiny that the actual cyst fluid, the sebaceous fluid, can't come through that little hole. So when you're adding pressure to it, that little hole actually just acts like a tiny tear in the fabric of defense, and then explodes out and then creates a giant hole and a lot of damage. So a lance is actually a little bit bigger and will cause a correct sized hole. This is what the dermatologists would do to me whenever they had to drain a cyst, is they would use a lance. I'll be mentioning a few different products and a few different things. I'll link everything below the video so that you guys can just find it immediately. Now, another strategy, instead of lancing and draining it, what you can actually do is, this is something I never actually did because I found out about this after I dealt with all my most huge cystic acne problems, a hydrocolloid bandage. Basically, this is used for any type of thing on your body that would have fluid in it. If it's like a blister, a wart, or anything else on your body, people will use these hydrocolloid bandages, put it on it, and then overnight it will pull the fluid out of your body. So if you have a cyst, you can actually put those hydrocolloid bandages over your cyst, and then overnight, theoretically, it will pull the fluid out if the fluid is ready to be pulled out. If it's way too early in the cyst's life, then you won't be able to get any results out of this at all. Okay, now we've reached the point where the cyst has either been naturally drained or naturally removed from your face, or forcefully popped by you, or lanced, or hydrocolloid bandages, and you're gonna have either a little bit of redness or a lot of redness, depending on which one you did. Now, if the area around your cyst is really red because you either forcefully popped it yourself or it's just an irritated area, what you should do is use witch hazel, which is an astringent. So an astringent is great because it causes the tissues of the body to constrict and get smaller. So it helps with the actual inflammation and swelling of the cyst, and it also helps a bit with the redness. Now, assuming that your face is warm or hot because you were popping it in the shower or steaming it or whatever the case may be, now you need to wash it with cold water. This is gonna help all the pores around it close up so that they won't catch any of the bacteria from the popped cyst itself. You need to wash it completely with cold water so that it is nice and flushed out. There's no cystic fluid around it at all left on the face. And then also cool temperatures will just help with the redness and the swelling in general. So if you are in a colder room, or if you're in a cold atmosphere, which is great for people who live in colder places, or if you have like a cold spoon or a cold towel or really anything cold that you can put on your face, that will help a lot with the swelling and the redness.
As I'm watching this video, I'm loving everything I said. Witch hazel is so good. Also, something else that I've discovered is vitamin C. So you can either use this in a serum or moisturizer or whatever, but vitamin C is really, really good, scientifically proven and to be very effective at reducing and eliminating the redness that comes from your acne. So definitely check that out as well.
For you ladies out there, be very, very careful with your makeup. Actually, this applies to guys too, because I remember at a point when I would use brown concealer, I would try to actually conceal my cysts and zits. Be very careful with what you put on your face. Anything you put on your face, I know it will help actually go in public to kind of conceal it, but if it's open, if you have any cysts or zits, it's going to like clog and plug those pores up and cause you to have more blackheads and more cysts and more zits, and then you're going to use more makeup to cover those that you pop, and then you're going to cause yourself so much more than you need. Overall, the best advice that I can give you for dealing with any big zit or cyst is do not touch it at all. Most likely 95% of the time you are just going to make it worse. Most likely what is going to happen too is a lot of people want to pop their cyst before it's actually even surfacing to the skin, so you're causing so much pressure in that cyst. And I bet you had this happen before, where you try pushing on a cyst and it doesn't actually pop, no fluid actually comes out the top. You have just caused yourself 2 to 3 times the amount of time with that cyst and the size of that cyst, because it didn't pop on the top of the skin. Thus, that pocket where the sebum fluid is inside of that cyst actually popped underneath, under the skin. So now you have inflammation under the skin, swelling up and gathering even more sebum fluid and extra material. And that is the reason that I tell everybody not to touch their face, because most of the time you cannot pop it in a good way. Even when you do pop the top of the skin, oftentimes the bottom of the skin also pops. Extra pressure, extra inflammation, it's almost always bad. So just cope with the little white dot or the big dot, whatever. It's always going to be better, I guarantee, than popping it. I'm sorry, cysts themselves are a very heated topic with me, because that was my form of acne. I had hella blackheads and I had hella nodular cysts. I also had the whiteheads and stuff, but cysts are like, that's my specialty. That is what I know well, and I just know that you shouldn't touch them. But anyways, that is it for this video. I just wanted to really quickly go through this question with you guys. A lot of people had asked me, how do you deal with a big cyst or a big zit that comes up overnight? How's the best way to approach it? This is the best way to approach it, in my opinion, and with the experience that I've gotten through with dealing with cysts. I love making these videos. I love connecting with you guys, Team Acne. You guys are all my acne brothers and sisters, and I'm not even kidding with you.
All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed watching that video. Sometimes I go back and watch my older acne videos to see if I was spitting the truth or if I was just saying goofy things that, you know, that I can debunk. But this one I felt like was so good that I felt like it needed more attention. I felt like it needed to be reposted for people who haven't seen it before, because I know it can help a ton of people. So I hope it helped you. If it did, let me know what you thought in the comments below. And again, check out my new acne program I just released. It is so good. I've already seen so many good results from people who have tried it out. Savannah Lee has one of the most amazing before and afters. Literally after 10 10 weeks of using the Acne method. So if you haven't already, go to theacnemethod.com and go check that out. Of course, if you enjoyed the video, give it a big old thumbs up. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below and subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Remember, you are not alone. You are beautiful and you're a part of Team Acne. I'll see you guys in the next video.